Hey, welcome back to another edition of Open Shutter. This is the last show of July 2024. So I have the pleasure of welcoming the legend Sean to the program to close out the month. So big thanks, buddy, for coming on and doing this thing.
No problem. I was enjoying your music there.
I know it's Nazi, right? I did not compose
No,
that.
you
That
finished
is
playing
that is
for
off our friends at Epidemic Sound. So shout out to them. But appreciate you liking my cheesy little intro. But yeah, man, thanks for going on. We've known each other for a long time, so I always thought I should just get Sean on because he has some really good work, and I think it'd be cool to chat about street photography, portrait photography, like the various approaches that you use, and because we're just saying offline, like it's a skill, right? Like it's a skill that I think has to be constantly practiced.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, how long have we known each other
A
now?
long time. I want to say, was it
It,
before COVID?
before the pandemic. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I want
Uh,
to say like 2019.
yeah,
A
exactly.
while, a while. Long
Yeah,
enough for you to come on this silly little podcast.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, I think when it comes to street photography, portrait photography, you really have to be able to come out of your comfort zone
Yeah.
and be able to accept rejection at times. But for the most part, I find that if you are approachable, you're smiling. That's one of the things that I put on every time I go out. If I'm smiling, more often than not, people are smiling with me.
Right.
And even if they hadn't realized that I was taking a photo, they look at me, they see the smile, and then they usually take a second or third photo with me.
Mm.
So yeah,
It's a person to person thing.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a person to person. They kind of feel like you're genuine with like your intention.
exactly. Yeah.
Very, very critical. Yeah. So I mean, like, do you what's your approach? I know that we've gone like a couple times this summer. Like, do you usually ask people for their photo, or do you try to like kind of snipe people off from like the background, or like what do you like? What do you like to do usually?
Yeah, it depends on the lens I'm using.
Of course.
So for me, my go-to lens is my Tamron 35 to 150.
Mm,
And with that one, it's pretty versatile. I can either, decide, you know what, I'm just going to kind of get a flavor of the scenery. And if someone
right.
walks into the shot, great. Or if I see someone that's striking, there's
Yeah.
always someone in the crowd that has a
Always.
certain character about them or a certain style about them.
Yeah.
And that's the photo that you'll take. And more often than not, I'll just take the shot. But after a while, if you stay in the same spot, the same position, usually they're able to see you, they're able to interact with you, they see the
Right.
smile, and they're ready to go.
Right. Like
Yeah.
this guy here.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's part of being in the street parades and events. Uh, Everyone's already in a more relaxed state of mind. I always say the summer is the best time for photography
Right.
because
Okay.
everyone's in a great mood. Winters, they're celebrating the fact that winter's gone, and they can just let loose for a bit and
Yeah.
enjoy themselves. So with
Yeah.
every week a new event, why not go out, enjoy, take as many photos as you can?
Yeah, that's a good point they make, especially in Toronto, where there's like a festival basically like every weekend.
Exactly.
Like there's no shortage of places to shoot. And this week we're just like talking offline. You're going this week into the Carnival, right? So that's gonna be exciting
Oh,
too.
oh yeah, yeah.
You get some good stuff, man.
Yeah, I've been going. I think for the past. So I prior to COVID, I went a few years, and after COVID, I've been going ever since. So that's kind of my one little rite of passage every year. I've got to go to Carnival, and I've got to
Yeah.
get a few good shots in.
Oh, there's so many great costumes, right? And like there's just an energy level to that
Exactly.
event. Like the energy is so high,
Exactly.
you
And
know.
I think for everyone who's in the parade, right, when someone points a camera to them, they feel like a celebrity at that point.
Yeah, sure.
So they are ready for the shot, you know. So I mean, it's a wonderful time.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be great, man. I mean, I think it's a good point you make. I mean, people are like looking to like, who am I going to shoot? Like, where am I going to shoot? I would just say, just Google festivals and where you live, and just see like what's going on in that, like wherever you are. I'm sure there's something going on, especially in the summertime. Um, it doesn't have to be a big like hoopla. It could be something really small.
Yeah.
But you never know what you're gonna get until you're actually there.
Yeah. To that point, sometimes I'll just go to a local park.
Right.
And usually on the weekends, there's so many people there, so many families.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting together. They're just trying to enjoy the weather, and more often than not, they're quite receptive to photography. I think, like I said, the key thing is you should be approachable. You should be able.
Yeah.
You should be seen.
You don't be hiding in the bushes.
Exactly.
Yeah, behind a van or something like shooting through like a van window. Who's that? Who's that guy in that camper van? I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like, what's your? I mean, I think there's people. I know people. They're they tell me, oh, I'm shy with street photography. I don't like taking pictures of strangers. I don't like taking pictures of strangers. So like, what's your advice to people that want to start in the street but have that kind of shyness?
I would say maybe instead of thinking that you're going to start with a 35 millimeter,
Right.
try with an 85 first.
Okay.
Right? I find that 85 is a great focal length to capture street. It's unconventional. Not many people will use that. I think for the most part, they use 35, 45 millimeter.
Yeah.
24 for wide angles.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that 85, you can essentially take street portraits. So even if you don't necessarily want to encroach and be in someone's space,
right?
Literally be across the street and just observe people. And then you start taking photos and you start to hone your craft. Right. What I would say is find an interesting location, right?
Okay.
A particular intersection where there are a lot of people that would congregate, right? I mean, I still remember like the first few meetups that I joined you at. We'd meet at Union Station. And we'd just kind of walk around, right?
Exactly.
And that's all part of it, part of getting outside of your comfort zone. You find an area where there is heavier foot traffic and really try to look at a subject, isolate that particular subject, and then take the photo, take the shot. Because what happens is, sometimes people will just trust the camera, spray and pray. They just holding down the button. But you really have to develop the eye for composition, as well as finding the interesting characters. And anyone can be an interesting character. You just never know.
Sure.
Right? Really seeing what they're all about. And then you start to take your photos.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces to it when you kind of like break it down, right?
Oh yeah.
Location, focal length, lens, character.
Yeah.
All these things that kind of just get developed over time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like what would you look for in terms of like a location? Would it be like the colors of like the street or like a store, or like does it depend on where you are, the time of year, or like are there things that you look at? Is it like a door frame maybe?
It depends. So I'm sure you can see from my photos. I try not to be typecast to say, oh, he only takes one type of shot. It's all about when you're in an environment, you really start to, especially once you've started to take photos more frequently, you
Yeah.
start to get an eye for what would be an interesting shot,
Yeah.
right? And then as that skill progresses, it almost becomes second nature,
Yeah.
right? But never be afraid to experiment, right?
Mm,
Especially if you're new to photography. One of the key things is really trying to find your niche, right?
ooh, I like that.
Try to, don't try to say, oh, I'm only going to take portraits. But, then you go out and you find some landscape and some scenery, and, you're taking amazing photos, right?
Mm,
You always want to ensure that, for me, photography is a hobby. I treat it as a hobby, and I do it because I love it,
yeah.
right? Especially, so my day-to-day job is usually a more stressful type of role.
Hmm.
So for me, being able to take a step back and look through my lens, right, through and then kind of freeze a moment in time,
Right.
right? That's the beauty of this hobby or profession.
Mm. Well said, man. And it's always going to be a hobby for you think?
I mean, I think sometimes when you decide to take it outside of that realm into
Yeah.
potentially a job,
Yeah.
sometimes you lose that
Of
spark.
course. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
It happens
So
all the time.
for me right now, I'll help out a couple of friends.
Mm.
Someone getting married, it's a good friend of mine. I'll shoot their wedding,
Yeah.
right? But I don't know if I really want to have that pressure of saying, "Oh, I want these 20 shots."
Yeah.
Oh, make me look pretty, and
Mm.
it's very much I want to take photos of what I enjoy.
Yeah. Because it's
Right.
for you. That's why.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's for you. Yeah.
Yes.
It's important to know, like, there's people out there that think, oh, let me just turn my hobby into like my full time gig and everything's going to be like rainbows. It could be, but you also have to be aware of there's always the other side to it too, right?
Exactly.
Where it's like now it's no longer for you. It's for like now it's for somebody else. The
Yes.
photos aren't for you anymore, right?
Yep.
So
I
it's a big
mean,
difference, I think.
yeah, deliverables, you're
Yeah,
still where you
pricing,
necessarily want to be.
contracts,
Yep.
rules. Yeah, I just everyone sees like the rainbows on Instagram, but when people like really dive into like the full time business and how it actually runs, then
Yeah,
people may want to think about it like a little bit longer.
exactly.
You know. But even like a photo like this, like I personally love like archways and doorways, and I love it when one person just walks by here in this photo, and I would just take that photo like when they're crossing the that archway. I just like it.
Yeah,
It's just a great it's an easy way to frame someone,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
very easy.
yeah. No.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like that church too.
Mhm.
Yeah, again, just like looking for ways to frame. Like for me, like when I try to do like street, I try to like frame them somehow, like use some sort of framing in the natural environment to at least draw attention to that person somehow, some way. It could be like a staircase, could be a doorway, it could be like a window frame, just
Yeah,
something like a leading line, using
exactly.
anything there, right? So
Yeah. So with this particular shot, I essentially I look at the cathedral as being remnants of the old, and then right
yes,
in the back, looming is this tower
yeah,
that's separate and apart. So I found it to be an interesting shot. So I
yeah,
said,
it's a contrast.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. Good eye, man. Good eye, man. Montreal, man, it's a great place to shoot.
It's beautiful.
It's a great city, man. I love
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
love it. What are some of your favorite shots this year that you've taken?
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Like,
You know,
how do
I
you pick, I guess?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
you realize I'm pretty prolific. I'm always taking photos.
Always.
So
Every day you do it?
I wouldn't say every day, but
Yeah.
I try to go at least every weekend.
Mm,
And what I've been doing is I work in the city, so I take my camera with me every day.
smart.
Um, Whether or not I'm inspired to take photos every day, that's debatable,
Yeah.
right?
It's not really about like getting inspired. I think it's just more about like the process of it.
Exactly.
Like the
I
process is
found,
important.
yeah, I found that when I was really trying to hone my craft, I took photos of everything,
Mm,
right? But now it's very much okay. I think I will go to this area. And
mm,
what will I see today? Right. I love to see interesting people. Maybe
okay.
it's a particular style. Maybe it's sometimes you can see on someone's face their entire life story,
Mm,
or you can see their hope and joy, right? And I one of the things that I love to take are photos of people in candid shots smiling,
mm,
right? And you know, it just brings me joy, right?
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good point you make. I mean, so like some of these shots here are really cool, right? Like just very innocent shot.
Yeah, yeah,
It's very innocent, just father and son.
exactly.
Very simple but very powerful, you know?
Yeah, yeah, no, and
Did you show them the photo after this?
no, they were literally just running
Yeah.
through.
Or were they
So
running?
I
Yeah.
was unable to, but
Man.
yeah, it's one of those shots where you can see the joy in both their eyes.
Yeah.
And you can see that the son idolizes the father,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In this
Yeah.
particular shot.
And they're wearing matching jerseys, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know,
It's kind
I
of
think this
cute.
was in Hamilton. That
It was a great night, man. Art crawl. I'm gonna post the super art crawl in September.
yeah, yeah, we definitely have to do it.
Yeah, super art crawl, man. It's even bigger. It's even bigger and crazier than the other one. Can you believe
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun,
Hamilton
man.
is a really good place to go for photography.
Yeah.
You get a lot of creatives in Hamilton,
Yeah,
lots
a
of
lot.
tattoos, yeah, piercings. So you really get a bit more of an edge
Right.
on the shots and everything. So,
Artistically.
yeah,
Yeah, more it's more of like an artist scene, I guess, eh?
exactly.
Yeah, I think Hamilton gets like a bad rap in terms of like just being like a photograph stream. I don't think people really think about Hamilton too much, you know, for some
Yeah,
reason. I don't
but
know why, but
yeah, but that's the thing. Hamilton's got, nature. There are tons of waterfalls, hiking trails, and then you've got the city itself.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
it's a little bit of everything. There's some gentrification in some areas.
Right.
Areas are still a little bit more depressed at this point in time.
Yeah.
But one thing you can see in the people is the hope, right?
The hope. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. Everyone is, you know, regardless of what their situation is, there's always a bright spark somewhere, right? And
Mm,
it's my goal to try to capture it.
interesting. Interesting. Yeah, it's cool, man. Like, I mean, it could be like, have you ever thought about doing like a photo book?
I'm. It's funny you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So friends of mine have been telling me, you're really good at capturing people,
Yeah.
um, and that I should be printing them and framing a few of these.
Hmm.
So yeah, one of the easier ways to really delve into that is do a photo book. That way I can actually touch my work, right? I think right now we've become so accustomed to everything just being digital.
Yeah.
The amount of detail in these photos, because I think my camera, the pictures are 33 megapixels.
Right.
Right. So these are high quality shots, and
Yeah.
you blow them up, probably do a small presentation at a gallery or something. Like
Yeah. It's not even not even really about like selling. It's just more about like for yourself.
exactly.
Have like a photo book for you, just so you can have it on your own coffee table when you got people come over. It's like people be like, "Hey, is that your book?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. You never know because people, hey, I want that. It's like, okay, $5 or 10, but whatever it is, right? Like
Yeah.
it's I don't know. Like it's just for you, like because like it's like it's kind of like your own work. It's like this is like my baby, you know.
Yes. Yes. No, absolutely.
Uh,
Have you ever thought of it, or?
I've always thought about it. Just like I can't I would need like a theme, like kind of like what you spoke about, like hope. Like there would have to be a theme to it. It can't just be random photos that don't like mean anything to each other.
Right. Right.
Like that's why I thought about the photo book for you, because you have this theme about hope. So that could be
Yeah.
like the name of the book, maybe. I don't know. But I don't know, again, because I've had other people on this podcast and they always tell me it's like whenever you can hold your photo, it just becomes different.
Yes.
A different experience because you
Mhm.
can like touch it, right? So um and from then on, you never know. You may get different ideas for different projects, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like having like the theme approach because it kind of keeps me focused on like what I'm trying to do that day versus just me like running around like an idiot. But if I have an idea in my head,
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm trying to get this theme today, then at least it kind of keeps me focused on what I'm trying to do. And because
Yeah.
otherwise it's like, well, what am I doing here? Like, what's going on? What's the goal? You know, I think people struggle with that sometimes with like, well, what am I going to shoot? Well, have like a theme. At least you can kind of get your head wrapped around that.
Exactly.
You
And
know?
that's the other thing. If you've got a focal length, like a prime lens, it makes it far more tangible in terms of what your plan is. You've got a prime, you know that you either have to walk up and get that shot, right? Or it's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If it actually forces you to walk up and get the shot. But again,
And
people get shy with that stuff, right?
I know, but
Yes.
and again, it's all about your comfort level, and that's why I said,
Yeah.
you start with an 85, then you go down to a 50,
Yeah.
right? Then you get down to a 35.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's baby steps, right? Like
Ex-
anything, baby steps.
Yeah,
Don't try to hit a home run on your first swing. Just get to first base. Just get to
yeah,
first base and you'll be good. You know.
exactly.
So what do you think your niche is, man? Is it street photography? Is it portrait photography? Like what would you say your niche is then?
I would think it's more street photography,
Yeah.
but I mean, I focus on people, so
Yeah.
I would call it a hybrid
I
of
like
sort.
people though, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
People.
yeah,
Storyteller. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I
You
think.
know?
Um, I try, and again, I'm doing it for me, and
Yeah.
I find that I've always gravitated to people, right?
Yeah.
It's all about, you know, especially when people are dancing or
Yeah.
they're so focused into what they're doing,
Yeah.
right? And you can see their passion for
Mm.
whatever they're doing, right?
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
just seeing that joy. That's what I enjoy,
Yeah.
and I think my most of my shots do kind of encapsulate that.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily always the shot that you think that you're
Yeah.
going to take
It
per se.
never is.
Yeah,
It's always something totally different, isn't it?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty with, like, the street and the portrait stuff, is because you can't control life.
Exactly.
Like, you can't control what's happening around you. You just gotta be ready
Yep.
for whenever it happens. It's like I can't control what's going on, but let me at least be ready for, like, when it happens. It's also, I guess you also have to have a little bit of an anticipation too, right? For, like, the moment, because
Yep.
you know
Yeah.
you
No.
gotta be right there at the right second, or else it's gone. You can't tell that person, "Can you do that thing again?" It's like, "What? Huh?"
And that's one of the things. There are times when I will literally stop, a person in their tracks or
Yeah,
a couple in their tracks, and I'll say, "You guys look amazing,"
yeah.
and I missed the
Like the
shot.
salsa girls. I was
Yeah.
right there when you did that, bro.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, worth it. I was right. Worth
Oh
it.
yeah. No, I mean, but yeah, yeah, of course, that depends on your level of comfort in
Yeah,
approaching and speaking,
yeah,
right? But like I said, it's very much, if people get a vibe from you that you're approachable,
yeah.
there's no malice uh,
No.
in your approach. Then
Yeah,
they're
just be honest. You just gotta be honest with you. Say, hey, look, I'm shooting for my Instagram is this, I'm doing this. And like we
yeah,
said, offline, like, people are usually receptive. Like, no one's gonna tell you to not take the photo. Like, eight
yeah,
times out of ten, nine times out of ten, they'll say, sure, no problem.
yep,
Never, like, it never goes down the way you think it's gonna go down. It's always like, yeah, sure, no problem. That's
yeah,
fine. Like, you just gotta get up, but people just have to get over that hump of, like, just going, because usually, like, people, us as photographers, like, usually we're like an introverted bunch, and that's fair. But I mean, at the same time, like, at least push yourself a little bit to, like, kind of get over that hump a little bit, because you'd be surprised about who you speak with too. Like, you,
yeah,
you don't know you don't know who you're talking with.
no, no, absolutely,
It's the world can be a very small place sometimes.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, well, and that's just it. Sometimes I will even tell someone their smile is infectious,
Oh,
and as a result of that, you get an even bigger smile, and
right.
then you say, "Oh, stay right there," and
Yeah.
then it's almost as though they're the focal point of the day, and you've
Yeah.
made someone's day.
Yeah. You've made their day, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, man. Of course. Like, you're giving someone attention, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, and people usually love attention. So, especially these days, right? So I think, again, that's why people are pretty receptive, because, oh, you wanna take my photo? Really? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like, oh, really? Like, yeah, okay.
It's everyone's 5 minutes of fame, right?
Yeah, it's well, you got some great shots, man. Like, what's is your favorite festival Carnival? Is that your favorite one of the year?
Um, I would say that is the highlight of my summer,
Okay.
but I love a lot
Mm,
of these street festivals. I've been
mm,
going to Ozfest for a few years now,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I
This
find
guy.
that you get amazing shots there.
Yeah.
And
I like.
I think I mentioned it once when we were together. I said
Yeah.
people have let down their guards. They're just there to have fun, right?
Yeah.
So it's easy. It's so easy to
Yeah.
take photos in that type of a setting.
Mm.
No one's ever going to really, rebuff you at that point in time.
Yeah.
And then you take a step back. You enjoy the moment, right? And then you go home and you look at your shots, and you're going to have great shots in your collection. Not
Yeah.
everyone's going to be amazing, but once you take a step back and you can think about what you were doing in that moment and why you decided to focus on that particular person, uh,
Mm.
took that particular shot, right? And for me, photography is all about building memories.
Mm. For
I
you.
go ahead.
For you, you mean? Building
Oh
memories for yourself. Yeah.
yeah, because I can go back to how I felt at that moment, what was happening, right?
Yeah.
And with this, like I was saying, I changed cameras. So I'm
Yeah,
using.
show it off, man. Show it off.
Oh yeah,
Let's get a little shout out.
my A7C2.
Yeah, shout out, man. Shout out.
Yeah.
Nice and sleek.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Nice and
So,
sleek, man.
but yeah, it's pretty unassuming, right?
Yeah.
And it's people are less intimidated by that setup, and I can participate more.
Right. Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, I didn't even take a backpack when I went to Ozfest. I just took the phone. And
it's a dream, isn't it? It's a dream. No backpack.
Oh yeah.
What a dream that is, bro.
Yeah.
What a dream that is. Yeah, man, it's always good. I mean, when did you start doing this kind of stuff?
To be honest with you,
like when?
So it would have been around 2018.
Okay, so not long ago.
I figured, you know what, I needed a new hobby.
A new hobby. So what was your other hobby?
Well, for the most part, I found that it was mainly video games or the gym, right? So I said, you know what, I need to be able to, get out and approach people, interact more outside of my comfort zone. And that's when I bought, I think it was a Panasonic G8.
Nice.
And I said, you know what, seems good, but it quickly, I quickly outgrew it in terms of the sensor size. And that's when I eventually graduated to Sony.
Okay.
I pretty much sold all my Panasonic stuff, moved over to the Sony A7 III.
Okay.
And I bought that with the Tamron 28 to 75. And that's kind of when I really started to get into photography.
How'd you know to switch to the Sony?
Well, I try to do a lot of research.
Oh, okay.
And initially, when I said, you know what, let me get into photography, I thought about size, the size and form factor were a big thing for me. And of course, Panasonic is known for their rather small places. But I mean, unfortunately, there are limitations with it.
Yep.
I mean, now everything's full frame, or most people are using full frame. It's become a bit more approachable since the mirrorless. So I mean, I've been using the A7 III, the A7 IV, A7C2 now. So yeah,
man, it's fun, right?
Mm-hmm. No,
gear matters when it matters,
Yes.
When it matters, it matters.
Exactly. And what I always say is, you know what? Start with something, right?
Anything, yeah, of course.
Exactly. You don't have to get, the latest and greatest. Get something, learn how to take photos. For me, I took a class on Udemy on photography, and then I was off to the races.
That's it, eh? You just got an online course and then you just went, eh?
Exactly. Yeah. You pay for the course, and then you start to learn it bit by bit. You read every night, and then you try to hone those skills. Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. I mean, it's not that long of a gap from when you started to now. It's only what, 6 years? It's not that long.
No. But like I said, I mean, you've seen how many posts I've posted, and this is only a small fraction of what I've taken.
Yeah.
One of our friends, Brian, he always says it. Like, you've got to continually be taking photos. you've got to continually hone your skills.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like people will ask you, well, how did you get such a nice shot? But I mean, really, it comes with practice and time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, wow, that camera must take good photos. Well, actually, I took the photo. Like, the camera's
Exactly.
just a tool, you know?
Yeah,
Um, so do you ever go back and look at your really old stuff?
absolutely.
Yeah, like have you like how far back does this go back to 2018?
Probably. Yeah.
Hey, look, there's Ansi.
Yeah. It
Really,
goes
bro?
back.
Can I go all the way back? Am I
Absolutely.
allowed?
Yeah.
Holy moly, man. So
Yeah.
what do you think when you go back to your old stuff?
Well, it definitely shows my progression over
Yeah.
time. Especially my earlier shots. I look back and I can say to myself, yeah, I have made progress.
Yeah.
And, if I continue to hone my skills, I will continually progress even further.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's always
Um,
cool to look back at old stuff, isn't it?
oh, yeah. And
I
I
like it.
mean, even for me, um, my goal was just to try to take as many photos of people as possible. Right.
Mm,
So I remember, one year I was going to salsa every week because I could get great photos of couples dancing.
yeah. Yeah. And that's right there for you.
Exactly. And,
Mm,
and then like fan expos,
yeah. Yeah.
everyone posing for the camera,
Yeah.
But those were amazing times. And I can look back at those and say, yeah, I had the eye, maybe in try to focus on one particular couple or whatever the case may be, and then kind of work your way through it. Right. At
Mm,
that point in time, I was still building up my skill set.
yeah.
But,
Man, you photograph so many people, man.
oh yeah.
Like so many people. Holy moly, man. What year
But
are we in
yeah,
right now? What year are we in? 2019 still. We got another year to go.
exactly. But that's what I'm
Jeez,
saying.
bro.
It's just one of those things where you can look back and you can see how your skill set has.
Yeah. Yeah. What's like the biggest thing you've improved on, you think, since you
I
started?
would think composition.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
you know, it's one of those things where essentially when you're starting off, you're looking at it almost like you're doing it with a digital camera, like with a cell phone, right? And you're not really figuring it out as yet. You're kind of
Yeah.
just working your way through it. And
Yeah.
even for this shot,
It's 2017, bro. It's like 7
2017.
years ago.
There you go.
Almost to the day. Almost to the day.
Yeah. But I mean, even that shot, it was, oh, I read something about rule of thirds, and there were three dogs, and I said, oh, that's rule of thirds. So, there's more
No, I
real.
like it. I like
Yeah,
it though.
but that's what I'm saying. It's like trying to figure out what you're going to be good at. And, at that point in time, I wasn't taking photos of people, right? It
Yeah.
was more
Mm.
so, figuring out the equipment, right? And then developing those skills
Yeah.
and then putting them to use.
Yeah. 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 No, that's a good point. I mean, I like this photo just because. So did you shoot this in black and white or convert it?
I converted it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my first post.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
I
And
like it though a lot.
so at one point I was saying, you know what, maybe I should curate and remove, and I said,
Yeah.
no, this is
No, it's all intact, eh?
exactly, it's for me.
Really? You haven't taken off a single photo?
I mean, maybe one or two here or there, but for the
Yeah.
most part, yeah, I
Really? That's
try
cool.
to keep it intact.
That's cool, man. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Here, I'll do. There you go. Man,
Yeah.
that's so great. That's so great. I
Yeah.
mean, there you go. That's a cool photo.
Yeah.
You
I,
graduated.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's a cool photo.
Yeah.
I guess you didn't take that though, did you? Since you're there.
No, no. Exactly. If I'm in the shot, I didn't take it.
Probably you're not that good. Where if you're in the shot, you're not taking a photo.
No.
Uh,
Yeah. Not
um,
unless I had a tripod and
yeah, on a timer or something, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what's like your post workflow like? Like, do you spend a lot of time editing, or you try to keep things as is as much as possible?
No, for the most part, I would say the most that I do is a bit of framing composition.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I may adjust the size.
yeah,
In terms of color, I pretty much use the filters on Instagram for the most
yeah.
part. I don't really shoot in RAW. I find that
Really
no,
interesting.
no, I
Interesting.
yeah, I shoot JPEG and
How
TIFF.
come?
It's more so it then becomes work, right? I don't want it to be work. I want
Ah,
to take a shot, and this is the shot. It's I don't have to, boost the contrast. I don't have to do anything,
yeah.
right? And
Interesting.
it's a true representation of what I was able to capture at that moment.
Right. Interesting, man.
Yeah.
It's a very what's the argument? A naturalist way of looking at the work is like don't touch anything. The way
Well,
it's out of the camera is the way it's out of the camera, you know?
yeah, and don't get me wrong, you can edit it a little, right?
Yeah.
But JPEGs just aren't designed
No.
for, you to really manipulate it to a
Yeah.
significant degree.
Interesting. Interesting. That's cool though. I dig that. I dig that. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, you definitely want to have like that street feel to it, that kind of like rawness to it, you know?
yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Um do you like shooting black and white? Because I really like your black and white stuff too. Like it definitely has a mood to it, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's it. It's more so, again, at that point, I was really experimenting.
Mm.
And I've converted some of my shots to black and white, and I find that they do evoke a mood, um,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful. It's very much though. Maybe I'll create another page for my black and white shot.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Why not?
Hmm.
Why not? Yeah, I don't know. I dig them too. Like they're really yeah, they really definitely have a mood to it. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, man. So many people you just photograph. Do you ever like come across a second like the same person twice?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like at different times
And
of the
different
year. Like,
events.
hey, I shot you
Yeah,
6 months ago,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
they do they remember you or like?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I think as a photographer, you want to be as unobtrusive as possible.
Mm,
You want to kind of just blend into the scenery,
yeah,
unless you're there to also have fun.
yeah.
Right?
I want to dance too, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to dance too. You know.
yeah, and that's just it, right? If you're a good photographer, you should be able to capture everyone, and for the most part, no one really remembers that you were there. They just look at
Right.
the shot and, oh my gosh, those are amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't believe you took those. Where were you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like, hey, like I shot you 6 months ago. Don't you remember me? It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, man. Who like who are some people that you follow that kind of inspire you?
Well, I mean,
Like,
like I said, you and
really?
Brian, remember, you guys were the first group that I signed up with,
Yeah.
and shoot, and I just found that there was no pretense in,
Yeah.
being able to go out with the group. And I think that encouraged me to want to take more photos.
Yeah.
Right? There were times when, maybe we didn't get out as often as we could,
Mm-hmm.
but I always remembered, regardless, and there's always I would say there's a core group in the get out and shoot community
Yeah.
that we're pretty much there for most of the
Yeah.
events,
Yeah.
and I find that core group, they're always very sociable, they're always inviting. Someone comes with a cell phone and says, "Oh, I'm new to photography." Sure, come on in. This
Mm-hmm.
is how we take a shot. you
Yeah.
and that's a testament to the photography community, more so than a lot of other groups that are out there.
Yeah.
I think we're a very welcoming bunch,
Yeah.
and we're not trying to, I guess, keep that knowledge to ourselves. We're
Right.
always open to sharing it with others,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's one of those things that I find that if I can help someone, even with this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
someone says, "Oh, Sean said something great that kind of encouraged me to go out and be a bit more bold in taking photos," right? Then that means a lot to me, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Or if someone says, "Oh, you know what? I tried a different focal length because of something Sean said."
Yeah.
Great, right?
Love it, man.
Yeah, and I've always said anyone who wants to reach out to me, they reach out to me. I'm very easygoing. In terms of photography, I just want to go out. I want to take photos. Once we have a good venue, doesn't matter the weather, I'll be there.
Yeah, 100%. For sure. I mean, that's why like the group started in the first place, because like Adam, who started the group, he was at a different meetup and they
Mhm.
gave him flack because he was using a kit lens.
Oh boy,
And they told him you can't use a kit lens. And he's like, what? And that's why he
yeah,
started the Get Out Shoot group. And that's why it's always been like, if you have just a phone, just come and use your phone, right? Because
yeah,
that's why the group started in the first place, just because of that. So
yeah.
yeah. But there's a lot of groups out there, man, especially in Toronto. Like you just search up for like photography on Meetup, and there's like a million groups out there. So it just depends on what you're looking for. Like, what is
Yeah.
it that you're looking for? So
Yeah.
lots of different flavors for different folks. But well, I'm flattered, man. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
I gotta do some more meetups, man.
Yeah, no,
I
absolutely.
gotta do some more meetups. We gotta do some more stuff, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I like what you said. Like, don't keep the knowledge inside. Like, share it around, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
And
So
yeah, and one of the things is never be afraid to start, because
mm,
that's the hardest thing. It's you're saying, okay, I think I'm going to get into photography, and you never take a photo, or you buy the gear and you never use it, right? So once you have a cell phone, start taking photos, start looking at your photos, start critiquing your photos,
yeah.
figure out what you did well and what you want to do to improve on that skill set,
Mm.
and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's important. It's important to get feedback too, like actually like real feedback, honest feedback. And it's
Yeah,
hard sometimes because like, you can ask friends, family, but if you
yeah,
really want true feedback, I think that's like also like the power of like finding a group where
exactly.
there's no one's biased. Like we're just here to get like real feedback. And I think from there you can really start to grow as someone that wants to like learn the craft because you know, you ask whoever, your brother, your sister, it's like, oh yeah, great photo. Well, what do you not like about it? No, it's great. Like, well, okay, well, what do you like about it? It's great. Like, what's great about it? I don't know. It's
Yeah.
great. Tell me what's great about it. So I think that's also the power of like meeting people and in a group. It's like if like the feedback is asked,
Mm-hmm.
then give it. And then, you know, no one's perfect. We're all still growing. We're all still learning. Like, and like nothing's going to be perfect ever. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
you
And
know,
I mean, photography is so subjective, right?
yeah,
That's one thing I've realized is, you know, other than the fundamentals, I mean, what makes a great photo, right?
right,
You really, for each person's eye may be different from the other,
right,
and you know, there's certain fundamentals that'll always stand out. You know, make sure that you get the exposure right. But sometimes you get the exposure wrong, and you create such a contrasting photo, right?
yeah,
You just
exactly.
never know. Sometimes it's just good to experiment, right? Use a slower shutter speed, right?
Mm,
You know, it's one of those things where you can you can you can follow the text or the course to a T, and
yeah,
you get a clinically perfect photo, right? But it doesn't necessarily evoke anything. It doesn't have a soul to
yeah. It doesn't really mean anything.
it. Exactly.
Mm,
Right. So that's why I say, you know, try to develop your style, right? And you never know
yes.
what your style is going to be.
No, exactly.
Right?
Speaking of style, Evans is here, who was like the mastermind of this whole podcast like 10,000 years ago.
Oh yeah,
You know
yeah,
Evans, right?
yeah, man. Yeah, he we did a photo shoot together
There you go.
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Evans is the one that started this whole podcast like 10,000 years ago. So there you go.
Man, small world.
He is the
Small.
master of style. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
Evans, good to see you, read you. If you want to come on the podcast, come on right now. I'll give you the link. Yeah, man, it's so important just to like not worried about like what other people think, you know. I think we get caught up in that sometimes and like trying to get the external validation, but
Yeah.
really like, you know, just no one really cares. Just do your thing and just like see what happens, you know.
Exactly.
You know, it's just I don't know, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
No, and that's just it. You can go for the perfectly curated Instagram feed,
Sure.
or you can try something new, experiment, right? And see how it's perceived, right?
Well, that's what
Um,
makes it fun too. That's what keeps things fresh.
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it just, you know, instead of doing the same thing over and over again, I mean, I don't know. It kind of gets a little bit boring sometimes.
Oh
Where you're not even really thinking, you just kind of go, it's kind of like driving, like you're not really thinking about driving, you're just driving, but
yeah,
you forgot
right.
how you got there, but you did it.
Yeah.
You never want it to become that. Because it's like, okay, I guess I'm
Yeah.
done now.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, and that's why it's a hobby rather than
Right.
right. I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
really want to feel as though I have to go take the same shot again and again and again.
Yeah. But that's what makes it a challenge, right?
Yeah.
It's a challenge to kind of go out there when you have control over nothing. You're trying to get something.
Yep.
It's a skill.
Yeah.
It's a
Absolutely.
skill. You know,
Mhm.
like and go. Okay. You know, and I think that's why we're just saying offline about patience too. Like just be patient with it
Yeah.
and just kind of like, you know, wait, look, understand what's going on around you, and then, you know, just be ready for it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And
No,
I
it's
think with street photography, everyone is kind of just going about their day to day.
right.
And it's about you figuring out what makes that person's day to day interesting, and how can you capture as much of the essence of that individual in that one particular shot,
Mm.
right? You know, so I mean,
It's not easy though. It's not an easy thing to do.
no, It isn't, but it gets easier with time,
Mm.
right?
It gets
And
easier. You just get better at it. Either or.
yeah, it's a little of both. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like I'm sure you follow like the account Humans of New York. You follow that account?
I don't follow it, but I
Yeah.
follow this guy called Professor Hines. Uh,
Heinz?
yeah, Hines.
Oh yeah.
He does a
See
lot
that?
of New York photography, street photography.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Kenneth Hines, eh?
Uh, I don't know his first name, but he
I'm gonna
does
show up to you.
amazing street photography.
This dude?
Uh, hang on, let me.
Professor Hines. He's
Yeah.
Madame Tussauds New York photographer.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Okay. I see. I see.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. He's got beautiful shots. He also does people portraits,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Oh, okay. I like this one. That's cool with reflection.
yep.
That's cool. You ever shoot New York?
No, I
You
haven't.
never gone? Really?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Can I go? You think?
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm always concerned about traveling in the States and doing photography.
Yeah. Interesting. I guess from like a safety point, you mean?
Exactly. Right.
Interesting. No one's gonna mess with you, man. Who's gonna mess with you? Nobody.
Yeah, but I don't know. But that's the thing. Like I've shot in Europe, the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
What's your favorite place to shoot outside Toronto?
I would say I took a trip to Barcelona once.
Beautiful. Yeah. Great
And
city.
I loved the architecture.
Yeah, man. Gaudi's the man.
Yeah.
Gaudi's the man.
Yeah.
Did you go in the church?
Yeah.
Yeah, some great architecture. I really like architecture photography too.
Yeah.
You go to some places that like you go to some other cities, like man, like this is a really cool city.
Well, that's it. I think that's the problem with, I would say, North America per se.
Yeah.
Is because it's a melting pot.
Right.
We don't have necessarily a unified architecture. It's very what would you call it? Just utilitarian. It's
It's bricks and mortar, bro. Bricks and mortar. It's all it. There's no soul to it. It doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I went to Rotterdam once.
Yeah.
Man, that place is insane for architecture. My God. Somebody was on drugs when they made that city. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. Like in terms of architecture, man, you can spend days there.
Really?
Great city. I would go back. I think it's better than Amsterdam.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to go to Japan. I'd love to do photography in Japan.
Oh, bro, you would have a field day there in Japan for street. Woo. You want to come back, man?
Yeah.
You want to come back? You just be there.
It's one of those. That's a bucket list trip.
Yeah.
Tokyo
or the entire country.
I would love to see everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Like there is an electronics district, Akihabara, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course, like some of the rural areas. The architecture there is more traditional. It's one of those things. I like to capture various cultures. I love but I don't know, and that's kind of where my insecurities lie, in the sense that I'm comfortable taking photos in Europe or taking photos
Hmm.
in Canada. But, you know, when you go into a culture that's vastly different from your own,
Hmm.
uh, you know, how do you ingratiate yourself into
Mm.
that culture?
Yeah.
You know, not potentially offend someone by trying to take a photo.
Right.
You know, those are the things that
Yeah. I don't know how you can though. That's the thing, because you don't live there. Like, I don't know.
yeah, I
I'm
guess
not
if you
sure.
research, you know,
Yeah, unless you know someone that lives there that can
yeah,
show you around properly, maybe at least make an introduction or some sort
exactly.
of connection. But like, just from personal experience, when I'm somewhere else like alone and know nobody, it's like, well, this is it. I'm just a fish out of water. You just gotta make the best out of it, like.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure, right? Like, it's a tough, but again, I think that's what makes it exciting because of the challenge. Like, it's like if someone came from Europe to Toronto, they'd be like, "Wow, CN Tower, amazing," and we're like, "Yeah, okay." It's the same
Exactly.
thing, right? Like,
Yeah,
whenever someone travels there, it's like everything's amazing and shiny and new because it's new for them. It's not new for us,
exactly.
So it's like people in Paris now. Oh, Eiffel Tower, amazing. People are living. It's like, yeah, okay, big deal.
Yeah,
Great. um, But yeah, I mean, there's so much to see,
that's it.
so much to do,
The
right?
world is vast, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if
Well,
every
it's like,
year you try to take a little vacation and you take your camera with you.
yeah. Well, that's how I plan all my vacations. It's just around photography now. Like, I
Yeah,
don't do anything else. No museums or no shopping or no beach or whatever. Just like, yeah, 12 hours of just like rolling around with the camera.
yeah,
Well, that's what makes it fun, right?
yep.
Yeah,
No, unfortunately, with the family, I
yeah,
still have to ensure that they are able to have.
yeah. Yeah, I guess the family's important too, right?
Yeah,
It's like, oh yeah, you guys are having fun too, or
yeah,
I gotta stop again.
I'll see you when I get back.
Yeah, I'll see you back at the airport in a week, okay? Here's your tickets back home. Like, what?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's
uh,
good, man.
yeah.
Well, we're up against the hour, man. So just want to say thanks again for going on. Hopefully, you enjoyed this thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You should come back on at some point.
Yeah, man. I'm easygoing. Let me know whenever.
Sean's the man. You want to like ask about photography or life? Just message Sean, man.
No,
Any final advice for the people out there, or parting
just
words?
as we always say, just get out and shoot. That's
Yeah, appreciate the plug, bro.
yeah.
Good. Well, thanks again, man. People watching, listening, wherever this is, Evans, thanks for coming on, listening. We should hook up and talk again, man, if you're still watching this thing. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching, listening, wherever this thing is. And we shall see you next time. Go check out Sean.
All
He's
right.
the he's the bomb. Peace.